Welcome to another episode of the Style and Strategy podcast. Today, I am very lucky to have Stevie Ann Dovico chatting with us. And so, Stevie is a technologist, a strategist, and an innovator, a leader, and a mum to 7-year-old Allegra. She has a larger than life energy and a passion for developing people and teams. Stevie has spent almost 20 years in banking and financial services, leading large global teams and tech platforms that actually support some of the country's largest businesses. She's currently the CIO of Beyond Bank and one of the largest customer-owned banks in Australia and one of the best B Corps in the country. Outside of work, Stevie loves to train with a balance of a little bit of hard cardio and lifting heavy weights. She also loves to socialize with friends and family and is always looking for more good restaurant recommendations. I think you're going to love my chat with Stevie today. There's lots of change, transformation, and learnings along her professional and personal journey. Let's get into it. I'm Sonia, a personal brand and style coach. My journey began in the corporate world and through lived experiences has led me where I am today. I've walked in those uncomfortable shoes, faced the same challenges and questioned my path to professional success while simultaneously navigating my personal style journey and the challenges that each decade brings. I wholeheartedly believe in the fusion of personal brand and style strategy. My mission here is to provide you with practical, actionable strategies and lived experiences to help you unlock your next level of success through the power of personal brand and style. Let's get started. Stevie, welcome to the Style and Strategy podcast. I'm so excited to be spending a little bit of time getting to chat with you. And for those that don't know, Stevie and I have known each other in a past life, I think, for both of us, but still sort of in the world of financial services, which has its ups and downs, but definitely some good, I would say, learning ground to come from when you talk specifically around change and transformation. So when I think about that, Stevie, and I look at where you are today, you're actually, out there as an incredible female role model for so many women, especially in that tech space within banking and financial services. So why don't you give me a little bit of color around what I would describe as your leadership journey and evolution over, especially the last few years and, how that's really evolved and changed you.
Yeah, cool. So firstly, thank you for having me. I was very excited to be part of a strategy and style podcast. So yeah, very
something a little bit different.
Yeah, it is. And I love the melding of those two concepts. So well done for bringing that to the masses. So yeah, my leadership journey. Cool. Well, I spent most of my career in banking. Like anyone who kind of quickly has a Google or a LinkedIn squeeze will see that, every time I think I'm going to move out and branch out, I'm always drawn back by banking. And I mean, that's because I love it, but it's a lifelong banking journey. And I guess that ecosystem's really shaped my leadership and career journey to date. So I started it as a consultant at EY and KPMG, mostly because I finished a combined commerce and tech degree, and I still had no idea what I wanted to do, which is a lot of people are in that situation. But I knew I was passionate about solving problems. I'm interested in the way that organizations worked, and I wanted a variety of work. And I was good at managing stakeholders and working as part of a team. So consulting just kind of seemed like it was probably the a natural best fit. And it was great in terms of leadership because it's more at that junior level, like an individual contributor path. So the focus is really about self-leadership and influencing and getting to know yourself, which I think is a really good grounding. It's a foundation for a leadership journey. And so that kind of led me to find the next opportunity because, as I said, I was kind of interested in people leading, and a self-leadership kind of role wasn't really fulfilling me as much. And so as I'm looking for the next opportunity, it just happened to be that GFC hit. So we had no fun clients in consulting and we just had bank work to do. And that was mostly bank compliance work. which
Fun.
saw me shift into like in-house with Westpac. And that's where I met you. So that was really
Yes.
exciting, a good opportunity. And we're showing our age now. But anyway, yeah. And so, like, as I shifted into banking, that actually gave me my first real people leadership experience. So that's like another dynamic of leadership that I really wanted to get. And I did. And, I ran like part of the risk and compliance program. And like since then, I've kind of worked in almost every aspect of banking. So, like, from running those compliance programs to auditing to product and proposition development, strategy and innovation, enterprise transformation, and then tech. And that's because I like it was purposeful in my leadership journey because I wanted to gain like really natural experience. Like one part because I still couldn't figure out what I love to do, but the other part is like I philosophically believe like you need in order like to grow kind of upwards, you also need that kind of horizontal leadership. And as you grow as a more senior leader, in fact, that's like what a lot of people are looking for is these real T-shaped leaders that kind of really shaped like how I got to the next opportunity, like via having that real breadth. And then in tech, I ran kind of systems and platforms and have been accountable for tech in almost every sort of line of business. And, then I ran digital at NAB, and that kind of saw me lead teams from kind of 5 people all the way to 600 people globally. And again, that's like a really big shift from a leadership perspective because like leading small teams and big teams is really different. Leading people and then leading people like leaders of leaders adds another lens of complexity. Leading like whole divisional areas and then leading through people is another lens, and then leading onshore and offshore and hybrid models is again a different slant. So like there was multiple kind of evolutions in that journey by sheer experience of just leading different teams. And then leading through COVID was another one where we've all had to kind of navigate, and that's really interesting. Like it was an interesting journey. And now the next evolution of my career kind of moved me out of sort of the executive role into the CIO role here at Beyond Bank. And that's a whole other evolution, a little bit on accountability because basically run everything from, oh, help me, my laptop camera isn't working, to like, what's the cyber security response and how do we intend to architect the bank over the next 5 years, and what's our like perspective on nascent technology and generative AI. So like really, really broad. And that again is like my breadth of experience has helped me in that. Like that's a really good thing because again, like the conversations I'm having now are very elevated, with the executive and the board around, and that's pivoting. Like the learning here is, okay, I've got to now learn how to pivot myself out of the operational, which I love to do. And it's really hard for a person that like wants to ask 20 whys on something and understand exactly how something works. Like again, another evolution is, okay, now you've got to like lift out of the operational and into the strategic, and that means hiring choices are really critical because you need to hire your team to be on top of that operational and to distill the insights and bring you the things that you need to have those conversations. So yeah, I mean that's a very long-winded version, but like they're kind of the pivotal moments in my career and what's helped shape that leadership journey.
And so when you kind of reflect across those, for someone that, is going through that change of trying to decide maybe, I'm straight up and down versus across the T or vice versa, what advice would you give them in terms of taking that step forward to, you trial something, to go have a go along those lines, to really then to get that clarity of what that next step might look like?
So I always encourage like give it a go. I mean, there's too many times where people will say to me, "Oh, look, I've only got like kind of 2 of the criteria, so I sort of let that opportunity slide." And my overwhelming response is, don't let any opportunity slide. Like if you read this job description or whatever job ad, and it's something that you think is interesting and you're passionate about, and you think you would do a good job or you'd like to learn, like just go for it because that's really, really important. But even before you start to like always think about opportunities, but even as you kind of thinking through what's next for me, like what I always encourage people to do is really go, okay, have a conversation with yourself about what you think your strengths are. Like, where are you really strong? like where are your kind of development areas, then go and take a JD or take the description of the role that you think you might want to move into, and look at what are the requisite experience and skill off the back of that one, and then just kind of match it to like, do you have these things? And if you don't, how do you go and purposely like craft your
Yeah.
development plan to get that experience? Because that will put you in an even more like a stronger position to get that next role. And even as you start, you're going to start strong because you've got like a lot of that already, you know, there. But like, I wouldn't shy away from experiences. I mean, the other one I would really think about is have a look at this role, and it's the opportunity for growth in either people leadership or technical leadership. And you see this a lot in technology. People seem to think, oh, well, like the only way I can grow in seniority is by being a people leader. But that puts
Mm.
a lot of people leaders who aren't passionate about people in people leader roles. And that's a problem because, like a people leader casts a dark shadow, you know, and if you get it wrong, it can create all types of toxicity. So, you know, like I think you really need to think about like if people aren't what you're passionate about, and that's okay because not everyone can be passionate about the same things, then like look for a role that's going to let you grow in seniority and experience and whatever, but in a like individual contributor way, and like working out which side you kind of sit on is super important, even for your own fulfillment.
Yeah, that's great, Stevie. I think, whether you're look in employment and you're trying to work out where to position your career, that becomes a really nice laser focused way of looking at it. And then even if you are in business for yourself, your question is, are you stepping in as CEO of your business, or are you wanting to focus really on the technical components? And therefore, you don't want to have a whole team of people sitting underneath you, doing the execution while you're the kind of face as well. So yeah, great advice there. So in an industry that's often perceived as, and I think I spoke to Amara once around this, the either black or white t-shirt and jeans society, because then you would be classified as you're in tech, right? Where that's the case, I think what really resonated with me as I watched your career evolve is that Stevie stayed really true to who you were. And it came through across in your brand and it came through in your style as well. So, a question for you being, did you feel like that was very deliberate? Did you realize it, or was it just, look, I really like dressing like that and this was part of my brand? What was the thought process around,
Yeah.
if you reflect back?
Yeah. So yeah, almost embarrassingly, like, and maybe it shows my age again. You know, like I'm so still wedded to wearing high heels, you know, and I get a lot of like people will be like, really? Are you gonna be like the last woman standing in high heels? Because it's not cool anymore. Like people wear sneakers to work. So, you know, and like, but some like part of that's a bit of like personal brand. I wear them because I love them. I love the look. And also I'm very,
Yeah.
very short. But like, you know, people will always comment about my shoes because I like to wear really bright colors. And, you know, like, again, like that's kind of true to your style. I mean, a lot of the foundations or the frameworks around the things I wear have been like influenced by strong role models and like strong female role models in my career, especially in the early days. And like my mum is one of those people who like she's very corporate and conservative when it comes to dressing, like way more than me. Like she would hate this little shoulder that's showing. But you know, from the beginning, she was like, you know, Stevie, when you go to work, like people are employing you because you have a perspective and they want to hear what you say. And so it's really important to dress in a way that's not going to distract people from the message you're trying to get out, right? So like this is, I'll probably like cop a lot of flack for this, but like she's always said to me, like, you know, just like get a sense of how low cut your top is or how short your skirt is or whatever. Just not because of anything, like go out on the weekend and do whatever, like go to the beach and get in a bikini, but like at work, like wearing things that distract from what you're saying, people are only going to be looking at the things you're wearing or whatever. And so there was always a bit of that. And then I think like my advice on that, it's important to stay true to your style, like, you know, but think about like, let's say you're presenting, and I always think about this is I always ask like, what's the room going to look like and where are we going to be sitting? Because like you're usually on really high chairs or really low ones. I don't know why they don't put you just on a normal chair, or, like it's always a really awkward thing. And like, because I'm really short, again, it's high chairs are the worst. And so, like it's mental, like you should wear pants to this, not because you're trying to be really conservative or anything, but like it
This is
will make you
practical.
feel less comfortable, like in a skirt or whatever on a high chair, because and you're not going to be able to perform as well and all of that kind of stuff. So it's like it's always like staying true to your natural style, but like in context, like be conscious about the context in which you're operating in, and then like where you want the focus to be. And like I do have my t-shirts and like jeans days, but they're like, I don't know, they're not so many of them. Mostly like
Yeah.
in flat shoes and sports shoes and whatever at the gym. Like other than that, I'm kind of,
Yeah. No, I love it. And I love that you're standing true to the heel as well. Gave up on that a little while ago, but
Everyone,
I
even my
still,
mom has, like, everyone's like, it's done. Let go of it. I'm like, no, I love heels.
but I do have a soft spot, and I do appreciate a good heel for, an event or something. But so can you tell me a little bit around, as a leader that is, working through the complexities of tech and innovation as well in the financial services sector.
Right.
So, I can really appreciate the challenges associated with that. What are some of the biggest lessons that you think you've learned in trying to navigate some of that?
Yeah. There's probably quite a few lessons learned. Like in terms of tackling complexity, because as a leader, you're never short of that in tech. It's really about putting in perspective the problem you're trying to solve. Because if you try to go head on to like this giant issue, you get overwhelmed and like deflated, and you feel like you're kind of chipping away at a mountain with a fork. And like, look, a lot of the times you're going to anyway, these are big, big problems. Like if they were easy, they wouldn't come and ask for
Yeah.
like good people to come and solve them. They like it'd be cheaper and faster to get easy problems solved by like not really highly technically competent kind of people. But yeah, so like I would definitely take like break down the problem into kind of smaller problems to solve, and really measurable problems to solve, because like there's some level of like satisfaction, or whether it's, I don't know, dopamine addiction or whatever, that like of ticking off things on your list. And so when you break big problems into smaller problems, like you do feel the satisfaction of making some momentum, and that helps you push along like the lengthy journey to solve big hairy problems. I think the other big lesson is you're only as good as your team. And so you've got to think really, really hard about who you hire for the role that you need. So, for example, like in my leadership team today, I've got heads of technology under me, but these are not just leaders that manage teams, because the scale that we're operating in Beyond Bank is quite small. And so everyone needs to get their hands dirty. So when you're hiring, it's like you've got to be really purposeful and like clear about like, yes, this is a senior role. Yes, you will have a team, but like everyone gets their hands dirty here. And if that's not for you, then this is probably not the role for you. And I've been so lucky to be able to hire like really great people with teams, but are also really technically competent and can get in there and like help to resolve issues when we need to. So, that's really good. And that's allowed me to kind of lift myself out of the managing the day to day and think more strategically about where we're going. So, like make sure you're hiring the best people that are way smarter than you, because that will help you do your job so much more easily. And then the last one is really about like communication, like making sure that you're communicating your wins, like celebrating success, celebrating the success of your team. I think in tech particularly, like people are like, there's a lot of introverts, right? So like there's not a lot of people that are comfortable about being like, here's what we did, and like it's so great, and here's how we're solving customer problems and all of that kind of stuff. And I do a lot of it on LinkedIn, and I usually get a lot of flack for like, oh, look, you're just posting again. But I'm like, I'm so proud of what we've achieved. Like, I want to talk about this. I think people should hear about all the great things we're doing. So, like, never shy away from talking about the exciting achievements that like your team are helping you do, and celebrate that success, and make sure that you've got a really good comms plan so that your message is out there often, because that's going to help both you and your team, and everyone gets motivated, and then this big ugly hairy problem isn't as big because we've got the motivation to keep going and all of that.
Yeah, definitely. And I think out of those three, really, that communication piece, especially if the teams aren't so strong at doing that communication and celebrating those wins, really marking those milestones becomes really, really important. So if I turn to as someone that has actually received, some really fantastic recognition for your leadership in the digital space and tech, what advice would you give to aspiring female leaders who are in these fields and really going, well, how could I do that? What steps should I be taking in that space?
Yeah, so it goes back to the communication piece that I said before, and the recognition for the things that you're doing. Just doing great things and not talking about it, is not going to get you the recognition. And it's not to say, oh, you only do things for recognition. No, you do things because you like solving problems, and it's an important customer problem to solve, and it's your job or whatever. But if you do, well, you should talk about it. And when you talk about it, people, they recognize that you've done something, and then there's your avenue for things that are more industry wide, recognized more industry wide. And this is how you get nominated for awards, because someone looks at your post and says, actually, that's really great, and wow, look at the outcome, and blah blah blah, that kind of stuff. And I think the way to do that really well, so that people do pick it up and realize the impact of what you've done, and is really call out the problem that you were trying to solve, how you solved it, and what it did do. The outcome is really important, because you can say a lot of things, oh, I did this and I did this and whatever, but to what end? The more impactful your outcome is, the more likely it's going to be recognized and celebrated and all of that kind of stuff. So,
Yeah. Wonderful. And so now I've got 3 quick questions for you. So I know we touched a little bit on style at the beginning, but what is your go-to style signature piece that you feel truly represents your personal brand, and why is it an essential part of your wardrobe?
Oh, okay. So I'm probably known for my red high heels. Everyone knows that I wear these red pumps. They're nice. They're really nice. So they're my go-to, and I kind of feel like red is my favorite color, as you can see. It's a vibrant color. I think it it encapsulates confidence and all of that kind of stuff. So, I tend to move towards red anyway, but they are my go-to. And it's a red pointy high heel is so universally able to be worn. So, I wear that a lot, and I love them.
Love it. Love it. Spot you a mile away. So then, for my listeners who are looking for a little bit of inspiration, what book are you either currently reading or have read or maybe listened to that you think's had a significant impact on your either brand leadership kind of journey?
So the one that I've read quite recently that I just love, I think it's fantastic, it's called Never Split the Difference. And I forget the guy who wrote it, but he is an ex-CIA really top guy, and his job is they bring him in, he's a specialist in really high pressure negotiations. So in really terrible events where people have been taken hostage or whatever, they bring this guy in, and he is able to kind of unpick the situation and help navigate to a better situation. And there are just so many incredible nuggets, not about oh, here's how you win an argument kind of thing, but really about well, when you're faced with these tricky situations or catch-22s or things that seemingly have no answer, how do you position the things that you're saying, or your what you want to get the best out of this situation. And I found every piece of that book so interesting, and the way that it's framed in the context of stories and real life both business examples and these hostage situations as just nuggets and nuggets of gold. And it's like really good to take with you and kind of reference. You're like, okay, this is this situation. Like, what did they do here? And it's step-by-step things. And yeah, so that's been great.
Okay, that one's going on my list. I've got quite a few from a lot of the guests that we've had here that I haven't looked at yet. So definitely that one. And my last one is, we all have those days where we kind of need an extra boost, right? You're a bit of out of a funk, something's happened. What would be your quick mindset ritual that helps you turn things around and makes you feel a bit more empowered and ready to tackle anything?
Yeah, so I really like kind of just doing like really short bursts of guided meditation. Like I'm not at this level where I can just sit and meditate. I've got it, like I use an app or whatever. And I like the infrared sauna. So like my thing, if I'm feeling like I'm in that rut or funk or whatever, like I'll go for a walk up the road to the infrared sauna, like sitting there, headphones on, guided meditation, and just kind of disconnect from the world. And I think sometimes you get in that state because, or like personally, I get in the state because there's just so much going on all the time, like that you don't have that just opportunity to create just some space. And, like I liken to a computer, like you can't just leave them on running all the time. Like you got to turn them off at night or reset or whatever. And like, I don't know, as a parent, sometimes you don't get to reset at night because your kid's sick or whatever. And, like just stuff, I don't know, your pet is not well or stuff happens, right? And like, if you don't get that, like the sleep is not the opportunity to like really decompress, then like I find having these sort of rituals are really quite good because it does give you that like turn off and on or like reset, and then you kind of feel like, okay, like I'm back, I've got like the energy and I'm pumped to kind of take on the rest of the day.
Love it. Well, thank you very much, Stevie, for our chat today. It's been fun reconnecting as well as getting all those insights that you have sent through. Now, if someone wants to maybe connect with you or follow and hear about all these comms that are going out celebrating, where would be the best place to locate you?
Oh, I'm probably the most active on LinkedIn. So like feel free to connect with me there. That's usually where I put most of my stuff.
Amazing. Well, I will have Stevie's details in the show notes. But again, thank you so much, Stevie, for taking the time. It was great to chat.
Yeah, thanks. See you.
Thank you so much for being part of this inspiring episode. If you found value in today's discussion, please don't keep it a secret. Share it with a friend on social media, tag me at Your Style Collective, and leave a review. Your support means the world. Join me again next week for another empowering episode of Style and Strategy, the leadership series. Thanks so much for tuning in. And remember, you're already taking that first step towards your transformation journey. See you next time.